Cheers.
Cheers.
Nice to come to the Niner offices.
Yes, glad to have you here.
Yeah.
Thanks for
It's
coming.
just like drinking on the job. It's kind of nice.
It's a little early for us, but it's all right.
It's afternoon. What should we talk about today?
I'm curious about Rebecca's Private Idaho and how it all came to be. And
Gravel. We're going to talk gravel.
yeah,
Gravel's the new black. Did you know that?
yes, I know. It is the new black, especially in the bike industry.
But I was ahead of the time because Rebecca's Private Idaho is going into year number 5 this year. Super stoked. We have our biggest field already signed up, and I launched the event kind of. I'm a mountain biker at heart, and I was forced to go to a gravel event, and I went kicking and screaming and went to Dirty Kansas, and I had a really good time and found it was kind of the really sweet spot. It reminded me more of mountain biking than it did of road biking, and that's what I was really surprised about. And so I started thinking about where I live, and when I travel around the world, everyone's like, Idaho, Idaho. And so I'm like, you know what, I'm just going to bring people here. It's a cool spot, and this was my way to show people Idaho, support my community, and also get more people into the playing field. I thought I was going to put on a mountain bike event, but gravel actually means mountain bikers, roadies, pretty much everybody can come. So it's year 5. It's a 100-miler, 50-miler, and I called it Rebecca's Private Idaho because I rode probably 600 miles on my motorcycle, riding around, looking for a cool course and having a really good time. And what really struck me is that it is really remote, and what people don't realize about Idaho is there's not a lot of people there. But there's great places to ride your bike. And so I call it that because once we leave town, we roll out of town, and in a few miles, you're off the pavement, you're out of cell range, and you get to go to your own little world. And that's really what I wanted to communicate in the event. And then when you come back to town, it's a big party and a big celebration. And it's really important to me that people feel like a local when they get there. And so I'll never make the event so big that people can't come talk to me, they can't hang out. Like, I want them to feel like I did when I first went to Ketchum. It's like, this place is cool, I like coffee shops, I can grab a beer, I can go ride my bike. And that's the vibe of the event, is just really the community. And we have racer types, we have new people, but it's just like me welcoming everyone to my hometown. So
is it a race?
It's whatever you want it to be, which is what's great about riding bikes. Yeah, there's some people who come in hot. There's professionals that come and they're at the front end duking it out. And then there's people on a fat bike, on a mountain bike, first-time riders who've never done a century. We had one mom do the small fry route, 50-miler, towing her kid, We had a 13-year-old finish the big potato, the 100-miler last year. So, yeah, kind of everybody's welcome. So if you want to race, you race. If you don't want to race, you just ride. I mean, we have roasted potatoes at the aid station and goo and beer at the end. And we're actually going to have our own beer label. Sawtooth Brewery is doing a special edition, Rebecca's Private Idaho, this year.
Do you... is Ketchum known for potatoes, or is that just an Idaho thing? Like, are they grown in that area, or is that another part of Idaho?
So when I say I'm from Idaho, the first response, oh, Idaho potatoes, woohoo! And potatoes are grown in Idaho. They're in southern Idaho. We're in the mountains, so a little bit different region. But yeah, it's sort of played up on, what's special about, or unique about Idaho, and the potato theme's kind of fun. So I'm kind of thinking we need like a Mr. Potato Head costume, or somebody out on the course in a potato costume. Do you want to do that?
I would love to. I would love to.
But yeah, we're kind of play on, this is Idaho. It's remote. There's potatoes, there's mountains, there's beautiful scenery, there's great bike riding, and a really sense of community. And the thing about Idaho and Ketchum, where I live, is it's hard to get to. And that's the beauty and the curse. And so you got to commit to being there, and you got to stay a while. So it's a good thing.
What's the gravel consistency like compared to Dirty Kansas?
gravel can, this is really interesting because I have found there's Midwest gravel, and if you go to Kansas, they're like, oh, Ohio gravel is way different than Kansas gravel, and apparently different than Idaho gravel. And that was one of the things when I first started riding a lot of gravel is you, and that's why I like it. It's kind of like mountain biking, is you have to stay focused because there is a technical aspect to it. Some is like buff, super smooth, almost cement gravel. And then there's other sections of the course when you get way out onto the Copper Basin loop road that's big, chunky, kind of baby head gravel. And that definitely requires bike handling skills and some concentration. So it is a little bit of a mixture. And the course changes year to year. Some years are like, oh, there's so many washboards. I'm like, yeah, if you want a paved, smooth race, go do a road race. If you want a gravel ride, and it changes every year. The wind is always an issue, or it's always a factor. Private Idaho, you turn around and you come home and you're like, sweet, I'm on my way home, and then you get hit in the face with some headwind. So there's a little bit of everything. And then the last descent, which is your climb heading out, is a 1,500 foot, sort of like hair-raising, knuckle-whitening descent with a 1,000-foot drop-off and no guardrail, and that's actually a really cool part of the course, coming down Trail Creek.
That sounds fun.
It is fun.
What if I'm a first-time person coming to Ketchum and I'm there for the weekend? What do I do? What's a couple of highlights I should make sure I do while I'm there?
If you come to Ketchum your first time, well, here's what I hear. When people come for the first time, one, they're like, oh my gosh, it's so beautiful here. I had no idea. Number two, I'm going to stay longer next time. And, ride my bikes more. And so that's my first recommendation, is don't blast in, blast out, because people usually regret doing that. And so staying a little while on either end. And it's part of why I'm doing a test run this year of a stage race format for Private Idaho, because that's what I hear. People are like, we want to ride more. Where should we go? And so I'm going to hopefully add a couple more days of riding onto Private Idaho. And we're going to test run it this year with some friends. But yeah, if you come to Idaho, stay a while. That's my biggest advice for somebody who's going to come there.